speech is legacy and living life fully, living abundantly while guiding. Holly became a Leslie Sweet honoree in 2022 at age 37. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. A devoted single mom to her 12-year-old daughter, Hadley. The two share a love for horses and enjoy riding together on their horse, Big Mac, who fell on Holly's 2 arms and broke last week. Okay. Holly is passionate about living abundantly while facing terminal cancer, focusing on creating a lifetime of memories with her daughter and embracing every moment they share. She embraces each day fully, determined to make the most of the time she has with Hadley and to inspire others to do the same. I have a little story to tell you that is off script. I was in the lobby this morning getting ready to come over here early to finish setting up. And Hadley, would you stand please, Hadley? Hadley Taylor came up to me in the lobby and she said, "Ms. Gunn, I have a donation to make." And I had no idea what she was talking about, so I said, "You don't think it's money, right, from a little kid?" She said, "Well, 2 years ago, I made, I guess, little markers for horses. Little markers, she made them herself, so that all the horses in the stable would have these markers. And then I washed dogs." And she said, "I made $30. And she had it all folded up. And she said, "I want to donate this to Leslie Sweet." Thank you. I'm going right to Capital One Bank in Annapolis when I get home, and I'm going to deposit that $30. This is an example of our children that you will see later. Holly, welcome. You've done a great job in being a single mom. Welcome to our stage.
Good morning. It is such an honor to be here standing on this stage, sharing my story with you today. Those of you who know me know that I don't do things the typical way. So in true Holly fashion, I'm going to plug my acknowledgements here at the beginning of my speech rather than at the end. First and foremost, I want to thank Leslie Sweet for giving me this opportunity to have my voice be heard, for making me an honoree in 2002, so early in my diagnosis. It was a lifeline for me and a life-changing experience. As an honoree, I learned that I am not alone. Leslie Sweet taught me that while we are all weathering this breast cancer storm, we are in our own individual boats. This can leave you feeling isolated and alone. But what Leslie Sweet does is tether us all together. The other 2022 honorees and I still have a group text that we reach out to each other from time to time, and on occasion we even still do Zoom calls. I want to thank my mom, who has come to everything with me. Every blood draw, every scan, every oncology appointment. If it had anything to do with breast cancer, my mom was there with me. I want to thank my dad, who's been my biggest supporter from afar. He has made it possible for my mom to come to everything with me, holding down the fort at home. And my daughter, who has had to have a strength I wish she didn't need, who has had to grow up so fast and help me with things that her peers will not understand because the vast majority of them do not have a parent who is terminally ill. I want to thank my friends for always reminding me of who I am. When you're first diagnosed, it's so easy to lose yourself in your diagnosis. And my friends have been there to support me when needed and have always helped me find myself again. I want to thank my oncologist, Ashley Davenport, for keeping me alive, and for Lily for making the medication that is giving me more time. But most of all, I want to thank my God for putting these people in my life who have carried me, literally and physically, through this. How could I possibly feel alone? My name is Holly Taylor. I'm a single mom, an Army veteran, a former kindergarten teacher, an equine enthusiast, and a metastatic breast cancer patient. I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer in January of 2022 at the age of 37. At the time, my daughter was 8. I remember looking at my oncologist, tears streaming down my face, asking her if I was dying. Her response was kind and honest. We need to see how you respond to treatment first. I asked what my odds were, which I don't really recommend doing, and I was told that I had a 36% chance that I would make it 5 years. That meant that I had a 36% chance I would see my daughter finish 8th grade, a 36% chance that I'd see her graduate high school, fall in love, get her heart broken, a 36% chance that I would get to see her get married, hold my future grandbabies. And while I'm not past the expiration date I was given, I have been living stable for 3.5 years. I am so blessed to still be on my first line of treatment for Zenny. And while I'm planning on being an outlier and smashing those terrible statistics, growing old is a gift I might not have. See, everybody gets to be young, but not everybody gets to grow old. Getting this diagnosis has forced me to think about the end of my life, something I was completely unprepared for. It has caused me to think about what legacy I want to leave behind, and how to live a life in order to leave that legacy, and how to live abundantly while dying. You may look at me and think, you look so healthy, or you look so good. And while that is true, I do look healthy. What you don't see are the days that I sleep an entire day away because the day before I used too much energy. Or the times, this is embarrassing, that I have had to wear Depends because I didn't know if there would be a bathroom. Or the activities I missed out on, again, because I didn't know how accessible a bathroom would be. Or the nights I've woken up drenched in sweat, because at 37 I was medically forced into menopause, which incidentally can make the symptoms more severe. Or the evenings I cried just pulling my sheet up because the joint pain was so severe. Yes, I look healthy, but I live with side effects that you cannot see. My reality is that I am trying to cram a lifetime of memories into statistically 5 years. In basic training in the military, we have a training with using grenades. And I didn't know this before, but once you pull the pin of the grenade, it activates a 4-second timer. In fact, if you pull the pin and release the spoon, they call that cooking the grenade. And this is extremely dangerous because it can detonate in your hand. And those of us with MBC know that we are living with a grenade in our bodies that has had the pin pulled. Never knowing when it will explode, never knowing when we will hear those words, "You've had progression," or worse, we are out of treatment options. Let's talk about end-of-life care. People tend to think that there's an end to my treatment. And my response is, yes, when I'm dead. My reality is that I will live on treatment until there is nothing left for me. And while yes, no one knows when they will die, it is different living in a body that is actively trying to kill you on a daily basis. I want to take a moment to talk to the other MBC patients in the room. I don't know where you are at in your diagnosis, but as long as you are breathing, you still have a lot of life left to live. And it will not always feel like the death sentence it did when you first got it. Before cancer, I was a kindergarten teacher. I was active, I was healthy, or so I thought. I look back at pictures of her, the woman I was before cancer, and all I can think is how ignorance is bliss, because she had no idea what was coming. At 32, I thought I felt a lump, so I went to my OB with my concerns, and I was told, "You're too young for cancer." A shame on any doctor who has ever said that, because cancer does not care how old you are. I was told that it was most likely an inflamed mammary gland. Sweet, I thought, it's nothing. And so I did just that. I did nothing. For years, I did nothing. I am the poster child why self-exams are so important. Because if I had been doing them, I cannot help but wonder how my story would be different. Fast forward to 37, and I was diagnosed stage 4 de novo, which just means that I skipped stages 1, 2, and 3 and jumped right into stage 4 from the beginning. I wish back then at 32, I had advocated better for myself. Had I been more persistent for imaging or testing, I wonder if my story could be different. Had my doctor actually taken my concerns more seriously, again, I wonder if my story could be different. And I could should all over myself, thinking of all the things that I should have done, but what good does that do me now? Being a single mom with MBC puts me in a unique boat in this breast cancer storm. While other MBC women I know are planning for their spouses to continue to raise their kids when they are gone, I am planning for my daughter to be an orphan. Preparing for her to grow up without me is by far the most excruciating thing I have ever had to do. And when you are faced with the reality that you will not likely be around to raise your kids, you will want someone who will parent most similarly to you. Now, no one will do it like you, but you will want someone who will do it most like you. So I am planning for my parents to have custody of my daughter, to continue to raise her to be the woman of God that I am trying to raise her to be. Receiving a terminal diagnosis forces you to focus on the present and to evaluate what is most important in your life. It has forced me to learn some lessons, to revel in the mundane, to cherish the small moments, and to give myself grace on the rest days, because they're just as important as the full days, and I can't have the latter without the former. I often need an entire day or two of rest if I have had a day that took a lot of energy, and both are a form of self-care. Thinking about the legacy that I want to leave behind reminds me of a story that I heard. In 1888, a man named Alfred woke up and began to read the newspaper. While reading the obituaries, he stumbled across his own obituary, which was titled, "Merchant of Death is Dead." He we read that he made a fortune finding ways to kill more people faster than ever before. See, Alfred had invented dynamite, and there had been an accident in the factory which had killed his brother. And the French newspaper had mistakenly reported his brother's death as his own. Not wanting to be remembered as the merchant of death, Alfred took his wealth and he set it aside in a fund to reward people who bring peace to the world. And we still have this fund today, the Nobel Peace Prize. See, Alfred Nobel believed that everyone should get the chance to change their obituary in the middle of their life. Those of us with NBC have been given this chance. I want to be remembered as someone who loved deeply, lived abundantly, and whose faith was fierce. I've pared this down to 3 keys. 1, soak up the little moments. 2, create memories. And 3, lean on your faith. I think that in order to soak up the little moments, you have to let the mess go. The dishes will be there for you tomorrow, I promise. But if you don't go to the game, you might wish your kid's winning touchdown. The laundry will be there for you tomorrow, but your kids might not ask you to play their imaginary game tomorrow. So let the mess go until it can't, because it can't wait forever. But do not pass up opportunities to make the small memories with your family. It's these daily moments that weave together and hold tightly the larger memories. And when you are gone, your family will not be thinking, oh, I'm so glad the dishes were clean and the laundry was folded. No, they're going to cherish the fort that you made with them in the living room, the favorite bedtime story that you read to them, that you were at all of their games, and that you were a shoulder to cry on. This brings me to my second key, to create as many memories as possible. If you can take that vacation, take it. Take pictures and videos with you in them, because your family is going to want those. There are many organizations that will help you make memories with your families that will send you on a vacation. My daughter and I have been to Dollywood with Leslie this week, where Hadley made me ride roller coasters, even though I was scared too. We've been to the Grand Canyon with Dear Jack, where we got to hike part of the Bright Angel Trail. That's the one that the mules use to go down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, something I've always wanted to do until I saw how narrow that trail is. We've been to Yellowstone National Park and Glacier National Park, where we took a guided horseback tour with scenery that you really can't capture or see anywhere else. We've been gifted tickets to a concert in Niagara Falls with Do It For the Love, and a weekend in a tiny home in the beautiful forest in Tennessee with the Adventure Therapy Foundation. But if you can't take that vacation, staycations can be just as much fun. We like to do something we call pajama ice cream. It's really complicated. We just go get ice cream in our pajamas. It is so simple and silly, but we love it. You can find hidden gems in your area and take time with your family to explore them. In Kentucky, we have a Rails and Trails ride, which is a pretty cool way to see Kentucky in a way that I never have before. And one thing we are waiting to do is a clear kayak tour through the Red River Gorge. So find what your family loves to do and do it as much as you possibly can. Whether it's hiking, camping, sports, reading, movies, music, whatever it is, chase it. Because these memories will last longer than you. I am so very blessed that my daughter shares the same passion for horses that I do. So early in my diagnosis, I knew that I needed to find us a horse. And there is a very real possibility that our horse, Big Mac, will outlive me. And what a comfort he will be to her, to return to the horse that she shared with her mom. I wholeheartedly believe this horse is going to help me live longer because he helps me deal with stress and just the everyday crap of life with NBC. We have made some incredible memories with our unicorn Big Mac. Most of them wonderful, some of them not so much. But God has used him to show us just how much he loves us in a real and tangible way. And I know not everyone here will share my faith, and that's okay. But for me, my faith has given me strength when I feel weak, peace that passes understanding, and joy in the sorrow. There is a song by Danny Gorky called Stay Strong, and I feel that music can touch a part of our heart that nothing else can and can articulate our feelings when we can't. And in that song, it says, I've been asking for healing, and I'm not going to lie. I'm ready for a miracle, God, let it be this time. But if I never see the promise on this side of the grave, my hope might be shaken, but my faith will never break. Because I know the day is coming when you'll right all of the wrongs. So I'll praise you in the waiting, and my faith will stay strong. I would love to stand here today and tell you that I am a medical miracle. When science said they couldn't cure me, look at what my God has done. But that is not my story yet. But there is something to be said for having a strong faith and the waiting for a miracle that I might not ever get in this lifetime. But I know the one who knows it all. And I know that when I am gone, God will continue to guide and carry my daughter through the trials and tribulations in her life like he has for me in mine. I hope and pray at the end of my life I will hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. And I will know that it is not goodbye forever, but I'll see you later. And the best thing about living abundantly is that you don't have to be dying to do it. You can think about the legacy that you want to leave behind and start living that life right now. Thank you, and God bless.
It was Tuesday morning, a couple days ago. This is Thursday. It was like about 5 a.m. And Patrick Wyman was the speaker. Was going really